What's up, Valkyrie fans? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys a record of Ragnarok Season 2, Episode 8 review, entitled The Pinnacle of 1116 Gods. It actually doesn't say gods, it just says the pinnacle of 1116. And yeah, this is, of course, the Shiva backstory episode. And I enjoyed this episode more so than the last episode. It ends in a really good way, similar to how I think both episodes ended extremely well. Pacing-wise, they ended extremely well. We ended on the big headbutts and then the slow motion, thinking about leading into the Shiva backstory, which opens this episode, and ending off this episode, we end off with, of course, Shiva's giant attack. I can't pronounce it, so I won't even try, but the flaming kick that completely scars and burns and cuts and does everything. It's basically the tri-attack from Pokemon. We're going to burn you, we're going to paralyze you, we're going to bleed you, we're going to strike you, we're going to do all types of status ailment damage right down Raiden's face and stuff. Really, really cool. But this episode about the Shiva backstory, I've been waiting for this ever since episode 1 came out, and I went, alright, this is going to be a good adaptation. No matter what people thought about season 1 and stuff, and I liked it a lot more than a lot of other people. I see its flaws, but I didn't mind it. Season 2, of course, is superior in almost every way, and the fact of the matter is that, like round 1, as I've said every review, I've been really looking forward to see if I'm going to have a more appreciation and better enjoyment of round 5. Because I always put round 5 down. I didn't really like round 5. Didn't really give a shit about Raiden, didn't give a shit about Shiva, and yeah. But now, with the Shiva backstory, I'm looking forward to this. I can honestly say, once again, I think sometimes if they get the English VAs right, I'm sure it's done well in Japanese, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even check this one because Rudra's voice actor, don't know who it is, but very well chosen, great emotion in Rudra's voice actor, the Shiva backstory. I wanted more from it, in fact. I really did. I wish the whole episode was Shiva's backstory, and we got expanded fights, especially against one of the coolest looking gods, Indra, who lights he lights his goddamn cigarette with a lightning bolt because he's the god of lightning. Like, let's fucking go. What a badass. Unfortunately, it does everything. It doesn't take away from what the manga did, but I was hoping, similar to how we saw Loki and Okita sort of go at it a little bit, a little more filler here would not have been remiss. A little more filler in the Shiva backstory. Ironically, considering that now, I didn't really give much of a fuck about Shiva. As I said, I think it was just because a lot of people, once again, the community does affect you. When you're involved in the Reddits and the Discords and the community as a whole, and when you have a YouTube channel, it's almost impossible to not see what other people are saying, reading your own comment section, for God's sakes, and checking out what other content uploaders are doing and saying about certain fights and certain scenes and certain characters. So it's almost impossible to avoid. And the big argument was, of course, the round 2 stuff. Shiva was supposed to fight against Adam. Zeus pinch hit. There was a lot of arguments there. And realistically, going into round 5, for other reasons, of course, but as I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of Shiva as a character, and I think the community had some level of influence on that. You try to avoid it, but sometimes it just happens. You know, you go into it with a not-so-stellar attitude, or an unbiased attitude, let's say. Thankfully, the round's been long over, and I could just sit back and not see what people were saying. As I said, I didn't want to spoil this season for me, so I've been watching the episodes, and Shiva's backstory is just good. It's done no different from what I could see than the manga. It's just good, and Bond's VA, as I said, I didn't watch this episode in Japanese because I don't have to. The English VAs do a fantastic job here. And Rudra and Shiva's voice, I couldn't pick better voices. And it's just heartfelt. You get it more, you know? The animation was fine and stuff, and yeah, as I said, it sort of does what the manga does, and I would have preferred had we actually seen them fight these gods a little bit more, rather than just, oh, we're going up against these guys. Yeah, man, that was a tough fight. We're going up against these guys. Man, that was a tough fight, you know? That's what they did in the manga. It bothered me in the manga. It does bother me here, especially since I would have liked to see the actual animated fight. That's my one drawback, but actually, because of Shiva's voice acting, and because, especially that scene with Rudra, but Rudra, this was your dream, you know, like it's not his dream. It was Rudra's dream, and Shiva doesn't want to take that away from his best friend. And of course, the overarching, I think, is Brunhilde is the narrator, as she usually is, and she basically says Shiva became the pinnacle, the top of all the gods of the Hindu pantheon, and in doing so, lost his best friend. Which, once again, it bothered me before, especially since we see Rudra here cheering him on. I can't wait to see. We didn't see it in this episode. He's just sitting there dancing with all the other badass gods. There's Vishnu, there's Indra, there's Agnes, Angus. Well, I forget the fire god. All their names Braham. Anyways, all the badass gods, the other top gods of the pantheon are there, and they're all talking to Rudra. And it's like, it's been a long time, Rudra. I never understood, and I still don't really get it. I can sort of explain, sort of not really, why Rudra had to leave. Why did he have to lose his best friend over? You know, he chills with all the other gods. He's got like 18 wives that are cheering him on. He's got an elephant for a son. I mean, that's kind of cool. But he's got an elephant for a son. Feel very bad for the wife who had to deliver that baby. But yeah, like, I never understood. That was one aspect of his backstory. It is very sad, but I never understood it shouldn't have been sad. It was sad that Shiva basically took away his best friend's dream. He didn't want to. He never wanted this. He just followed Rudra and all this stuff. And the backstory, as I said, with the OST and with the voice acting and stuff, I got a brand new appreciation 100%. And I have been enjoying round 5, but Shiva's backstory is the key thing I was waiting for, to see if I felt more for Shiva, and I do. I do feel a lot more for Shiva. I connect with Shiva a lot more than I did in the manga. This is only a good thing. The anime, just like it did for round 1, round 2, 3, and 4 were already awesome. They, you know, the anime could not diminish them and realistically not really improve them very much because they were already so awesome. Round 1, it only helped me, even with the bad animation, season 1. Round 1 was definitely helped, and round 5 here has been definitely helped by the anime, at least my opinion of it. So yeah, this episode was just, it was well paced, it was really good. As I said, I wanted more from Shiva's backstory. I wanted it to be expanded a little bit more, which was the majority of the episode, so it's fine. We get Shiva's doing his dance attack, you know, his dance moves. He finishes riding off, or tries to finish riding off, with that flying downwards kick of flame and power and lightning and all this shit, right? And that's a really cool way to end off the episode. Episode 9, looking to really get into the meat of things. Now that we've followed the backstory, still, once again, we missed out on a little bit of riding stuff, I believe. I still think we missed out on some riding things. Maybe it's coming in the next episode. I wonder if they're going to skip it. I wonder if they're actually going to skip some of the Raiden backstory for pacing reasons. I don't think that's a good idea, but as I said, I haven't seen episode 9 nor 10 yet, so I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, no, the Shiva backstory was really good for the most part, and this was well paced. We jump back to the fight. The fight's pretty good. You know, Raiden boom, boom, booms his arms for a shield, but, you know, he gets through the defense. As I said, the one thing I totally forgot to mention there, I had a phone call, so I had to pause the recording to, you know, totally not, you know, split this up. But, yeah, Rudra leaving, I never fully understood that. I never got why he had to leave. Like, some embarrassment there, I guess, like, sort of like, I can't stand with you, and I'm not good being your shadow or whatever, but I have to leave and stuff like that. So, I never fully got that, and that sort of took away the emotional level, because he's clearly back here now. He didn't die, and he's back, and he's cheering Shiva on, so I never understood why he had to abandon his best friend and lose his best friend for hundreds of thousands of years. Why? Like, you were just like, oh, I lost, and as the loser, I can't face you anymore, or something like that. It doesn't appear to be that way. It took him this long to get over it. I mean, I understand leaving for a while, but leaving him on his own this whole time, that sort of took away the backstory for me in the manga. And as I said, the only explanation I can give is that you beat me, and I can't, like, looking at you just reminds me of that defeat, and I lost my dream and stuff like that. For right now, like, emotions were high, and for right now, I gotta get off this mountain. I'm not at the top, so I gotta go down and rethink, you know, my next dream or whatever, right? Fair enough, and maybe that took years. But the entire time, and he's never been back till Ragnarok, I'm sort of sitting here going, Yeah, no, something didn't add up for me. Maybe you guys can explain. As I said, it never made a whole lot of sense in round 5 and took away the emotional attachment to that. Like, Rudra gave away his tattoos, gave away maybe his power in some regard or something, and had to leave. You know, if someone could explain why, you know, that'd be great. But anyways, yeah, so that's the last thought. So sorry if this was jumbled up a little bit. As I said, I got a phone call halfway through recording and sort of have to, you know, what did I say before and now what am I saying now? I don't want to re-record anything, so... but anyways, yeah, so that was episode 8, guys. A little more unprofessional, a little more laid back this time. But, yeah, no, I definitely... heavy improvement of my opinion on round 5 thus far. The fight itself has been, you know, I never really disliked the fight too much. It's just the other fights are better, you know, in that regard. Pacing wise was the big thing, and Shiva's backstory was kind of like now in the anime that's been fixed pacing wise, and with the voice acting and the OSTs really helping Shiva's backstory in my opinion. Yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 9 and 10. I'm looking forward to the conclusion. I'm looking forward to seeing when Shiva notices Raiden up there, or not Raiden, Rudra. I'm looking forward to that moment. I hope that moment is done very well. I hope they don't just boom, boom, okay, there's Rudra, bam, and they just leave it at that. I want to see that, and I want to see the emotion. I want them to pause on that moment because it is an emotional moment. It's a weighted moment, so I'm looking forward to that, you know. But anyways, that's it from me, guys. That was episode 8. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always, and we will be back here with episode 9 and 10 of part 1, because there are 6 more episodes coming out later this year for season 2 of Record of Ragnarok. So we won't be done anytime soon. After we get through episode 9 and 10 later on this week, probably, we'll just have to wait on our pins and needles for not only the next chapter to come out, maybe concluding round 8, probably not, but also, you know, waiting on for part 2 of season 2, right? That gets really confusing, you know. There's core 1, core 2, part 2, part 3. Like, just call it a season and release all the episodes, or do it weekly, or do something, you know. Back in my day, anyways. That's it from me, guys. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you back here for episode 9. See ya.